The first time I saw my ex in years was on a hunt. She thinks I tried to get her killed. The only thing that smells worse than a city sewer is a lie. Corbin's briefing room reeked of it. We lost contact with the municipal crew 2 weeks ago, he said, his voice flat. He pointed a thin wooden stick at a grainy map on the projector screen. Then we sent in a team of 3. Solo hunters. They went dark too. Any working theory? I asked. My voice sounded hollow in the stale air. Something that thrives in the absence of light. So, anything. It wasn't a question. Corbin just looked at me. That was answer enough. A familiar cold knot tightened in my gut. You're not going in by yourself, Casimir. I stopped dead. The words hung in the air. Corbin kept walking for a few steps before he noticed. He glanced back. Problem? I don't work with people, I said. The truth. People are a liability. Their fear, their pride, their stupid fucking hero complexes. They introduce variables I can't control. And when they make a mistake, it's my life on the line for a decision that wasn't mine. If I die, I want it to be my own damn fault. You'll get over it. Corbin pushed open the door to the main ready room, and there they were, 4 of them. 2 guys I didn't recognize were huddled over a gear schematic. One, a blonde with a nasty scar that puckered the skin around his eye. The other was all sharp angles, wrapped in a long black coat that was trying way too hard. My eyes scanned the room and landed on Silas. Thank fuck. The man was a machine, cold, efficient, no wasted movements. Seeing him settled a fraction of the acid churning in my stomach. Then I saw the last person. Shit. Reyna. Her dark hair was pulled back tight in a ponytail, the way she always wore it for a hunt. A bandolier of silver-tipped rounds was slung over the black hoodie she used to hide her armor. Her eyes found mine across the room. She didn't even try to hide the disgust. It was a physical thing, a wave of cold that hit me from 20 feet away. We'd tried, a few years back. Tried to have a life. But the hunt always pulled me back in. It was a hunger, she said. An obsession that left no room for anything else. She wasn't wrong. You look like shit, Kaz, she muttered as I dropped my pack near the table. Nice to see you too. The words came out weak, an attempt at a joke that died before it left my mouth. The projector screen flared to life again, showing a cross-section of the sewer system. We don't know what we're dealing with, Corbin continued, his stick tapping against the screen. Sonar picked up the 5 bodies before the equipment failed. Based on the dispersal, it's not humanoid, not a pack animal. I pulled out my worn notebook, my pen scratching against the page. Sewer dwellers, waterborne predators, things that dissolve. I could feel Reyna's eyes on me. I glanced up. She was doing the same, a focused intensity on her face that I used to find beautiful. Now it was just a mirror of my own obsession. She caught me looking and her lip curled. Entry is through this storm drain outfall. Find it. Kill it. Don't get creative. Don't try to be a hero. Terminate on sight and call for cleanup. Am I clear? We all nodded. You move in 5. Gear up. The others stood, the sounds of zipping bags and clicking magazines filling the room. I stayed put, staring at my notes. It didn't add up. Most creatures leave something. Bones, scraps, a piece of gristle. To leave nothing, especially in a sewer where the evidence would just marinate, it was wrong. A sharp jab hit my shoulder. I grunted, the pain flaring hot and immediate. I turned to see Reyna looming over me. Move it. I rubbed the joint. I dislocated that 2 weeks ago, Dick. Is that why your jacket's stitched together with dental floss? She shot back, her words aimed at a vulnerability she knew like the back of her hand. I ignored it. I grabbed my pack from the floor and followed the others out into the biting wind. The air that hit my face was thick with salt and the cry of gulls. The ocean churned behind us, gray and angry. Before us, a concrete pipe gaped like a wound in the earth. Silas raised his rifle, the tack light on the barrel cutting a clean white line into the oppressive dark. He moved in first, measured and calm. I kept my shotgun high and tight, my knuckles white around the grip of my flashlight. A single drop of cold sweat traced a path down my spine. I hate going in blind. So what have you been up to? Raina's voice was a whisper right next to my ear. I jumped, my heart hammering against my ribs. Seriously? Now? They can't hear us, she said, rolling her eyes. She had her twin pistols holstered, but her hands were resting on the grips, always ready. I shook my head. They can't. You think whatever's down here gives a shit about our conversation? The light from the entrance was gone. We were in its world now. The only light was our own. I could feel the foul water seeping into the leather of my boots. Right. The job. Always the job first. When the job involves something that can turn my insides out, yes. The job comes first. She just shook her head, a flicker of something, a memory, passing over her face. Funny how every job you take seems to have an instant death monster, isn't it? Silas froze. We all did. His light beam was fixed on something in the water ahead. It was a shape. A mound, pulsing gently with a rhythm that was sickeningly organic. It looked like a pile of melted flesh and rendered fat, still holding the vague shape of a man. What the hell is that? The blonde one, Jory asked. His voice was tight. I couldn't answer him. This wasn't a kill. This was a dissolving. The realization hit me like a physical blow. I spun around, my light darting between faces, counting. Me, Silas, Raina, Jory, 4. The man in the trench coat. Mace, he was gone. We have to go. Now, I hissed, swinging my light down a connecting tunnel. What is it? Raina asked. The ice was gone from her voice, replaced by focus. The hunter. Silas was already moving, his back pressing against mine as he covered the opposite direction. His beam landed on a figure. It was Mace, standing perfectly still, like a statue. His skin was wrong, a cracked slate-gray texture, like a dried riverbed, but his eyes were alive. They were wide, screaming at us for help. As my light hit him, a shadow moved in the tunnel behind him. It wasn't a creature. It was a void. A wall of impossible blackness that just erased him. It slid back into the darkness, the only sound a wet, guttural slithering that barely registered. Basilisk, Silas whispered the word. It was a death sentence. A scream tore from Jory's throat. My head snapped toward the sound, but Raina's hand shot out, grabbing my jaw and wrenching my head away. I caught a half-second glimpse of him. His skin was pale, chalky. He stumbled backward, arms flailing, and fell into the grimy water. There was no splash, just a sickening, hollow crack, like a porcelain doll shattering on concrete. The water fizzed where he had been. A basilisk isn't just a snake, it's a patient, thinking nightmare. Scales like chips of obsidian. Eyes that glow like molten gold. One look is all it takes. Your body doesn't just freeze, it calcifies. Your muscles lock, your skin turns to brittle stone, and you stand there, a conscious statue, until you die. If it bites you after, the venom just finishes the job, melting you into a puddle of biomatter. Raina grabbed my arm, yanking me into a sprint down the pipe. We ran. Where are we going? I yelled, my voice lost in the echo of our splashing feet. Behind us, from the labyrinth of concrete and filth, I heard a hiss, a sound of pure territorial rage. The damn thing had herded us. We were cut off from the entrance. Silas took a sharp right, Raina almost losing her footing on the slick concrete. This was bad. Basilisks hunt by scent. Sticking together was just painting a bigger target on our backs. At the next intersection of tunnels, I made a choice. I broke right, splitting off from them. Casimir Raina's scream was pure fury, betrayal. It tore through me. In my head, I told myself it was tactical, splitting the trail, forcing it to choose. But a darker part of me knew she was right. I was just eliminating variables. I was running for myself. The tunnel I chose sloped down sharply. My feet went out from under me. I slid down in a spray of disgusting water, my back scraping against the rough concrete. I splashed into a massive chamber. It was the size of a school gymnasium, with a ceiling 30 feet up, supported by thick, circular pillars. I scrambled to my feet, the water up to my thighs, heavy and cold. There had to be an exit. There had to be. I staggered to a pillar, leaning against it, trying to get my bearings. A heavy splash came from the tunnel I'd just fallen out of. My heart leaped into my throat. I ducked behind the pillar. The hissing followed. Of course it followed me. My scent was different, less human, more interesting. I risked a look around the concrete. The beast was colossal. One of the biggest I'd ever heard of. 40 feet long, at least, and as thick as a small car. Its scales were like jagged shards of volcanic glass. Twisted horns grew from its skull, a grotesque crown. Serpens Regina, the Serpent Queen. Its head swiveled in my direction. I jerked back behind the pillar. It knew I was here. This was a cat and mouse game, and I was the mouse with no trap and nowhere to run. My bag. It was gone. Ripped off my shoulder when I fell. All my gear was at the bottom of this cesspool, probably right under the fucking snake. My hand closed on my pistol. Useless. An idea sparked. I fumbled for a spare magazine on my belt, my fingers clumsy with cold and fear. I worked 3 rounds free and tossed one across the room. It made a small splash. The hissing stopped. It was listening. Its sight was poor, but its hearing was phenomenal. I threw the other 2 rounds in the same direction. That was all the confirmation it needed. The basilisk shot through the water toward the sound with a speed that defied its size. The noise it made, tearing through the water, covered the sound of me sloshing toward the entrance pipe. I plunged my arms into the muck, feeling desperately. My fingers brushed canvas. I got a grip on my bag and hauled it out. But the beast had realized the deception. It turned, a black river of death surging toward me. The zipper on my bag was stuck. I was fucked. A rifle shot cracked through the chamber. One of the queen's golden eyes ruptured in a spray of ichor. The monster roared, a sound that vibrated up through my bones. Its path shifted, but the side of its body clipped me, scales like knives slicing deep into my chest and arm. I ignored the fire that erupted along my ribs. Silas. He was in an opening across the room, his rifle up. Another shot, and the basilisk was blind. Before it could recover, fire bloomed across its flank. A Molotov. Reyna. She was there, in another tunnel. They hadn't left me. They'd followed me. I finally ripped the zipper open and plunged my hand inside, finding the small plastic container. Rue. The one thing these creatures couldn't stand. I smeared the pungent herb over my combat knife and ran. The beast had crashed into the wall near Reyna's position. It heard my splashing and charged. Its mouth opened, a cavern of 1,000 needle-like teeth, all promising a horrifying death. I jumped, throwing myself over its jaw and driving the herb-covered knife deep into its tongue. It convulsed, spitting black blood, shaking its massive head. Its tail whipped around, smashing into one of the pillars with a deafening crack. Another idea formed, born of pure desperation. I fired my pistol at it, the shot pinging uselessly off its armored hide. "Hey, over here, you ugly fuck," my voice echoed. It worked. With a hiss of absolute rage, it came for me again. I could smell the rot on its breath. I dodged aside like a bullfighter and booked it to the cracked pillar. The snake rounded on me, its sense of smell completely screwed by the rue. I screamed again, keeping its attention locked on me. I pressed my back against the crumbling concrete. This was it. If this didn't work, I was just a meal. It charged, impossibly fast. Just before its jaws could close on me, I jumped, tucking my legs to my chest. My plan worked. Its head passed right under me. The chamber shook as it slammed headfirst into the damaged pillar. Concrete dust filled the air. I landed on its back, scrambling out of its mouth before it could recover. The pillar groaned, but it held. The basilisk was stunned, trying to pull back, but the pain and concussion had slowed it. It wasn't enough. "It's not enough," Reyna screamed from across the room. I saw the only way. I scrambled up the thing's thick, scaled body, my knife still clutched in my hand. It began to thrash, a rodeo on the back of the devil itself. I found the spot where its armored skull met its spine, and I drove the knife down with all my weight. And again. And again. Black, viscous fluid sprayed over me, hot and foul. With one final, violent shudder, The great body went limp. The damaged pillar finally gave way, a grinding shriek of tortured rebar, and crashed down, pinning the monster's neck to the floor. For a long minute, there was only the sound of dripping water and my own ragged, desperate breaths. I slid off the corpse, drenched in its lifeblood, my body shaking with adrenaline. Raina waded through the water toward me. She didn't slap me. She got right in my face, her eyes burning with a cold fire. Her voice was a low, shaking whisper. "You left us," she said. "Not for the mission, for you. Don't you ever fucking do that again." She didn't wait for an answer. She turned and went to check on Silas. The words hit me harder than any punch could. I looked at the dead queen, at the two people who had come back for me, and the weight of my decision, the real reason I ran, settled in my gut. Cold and heavy, I followed them down the tunnel, searching for a way out of the dark.